Hey there, welcome back to The Well Balanced Mind. I'm Shannon Rollins, your host, and this show is about creating insights to understanding yourself, overcoming challenges, and really having a healthier and happier life overall. And I'm so excited today to invite my special guest, Whitney O'Connor, with us, and we're going to be having a great conversation surrounding having a queen mindset while battling breast cancer. And Whitney is a 2 times breast cancer survivor. She's a speaker. She's a founder of the Boobie Queen Company, where they really work on selling and donating Boobie Crowns to women all over who are battling breast cancer or anyone involved in the process. And Whitney, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited. And just a side note, Whitney and I actually met each other in a group mastermind, a coaching mastermind in the past, and we've just kept ties together ever since because I've been so just in awe about her resiliency and just who she is as a person. So thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
I
So,
know, I'm really pumped too.
and you look beautiful.
Oh,
So,
you do too. Thank you. Yeah, well, okay. And so some people are probably wondering throughout this entire thing, what is a booby crown? And I'm curious to know, what is a booby crown and how did this come about in general? Just share a little bit about your story because I know there's a lot of women who will be watching this or who have gone through something similar like this in the past.
yeah, absolutely. And Shannon, I get asked what a booby crown is probably every day of my life because it's not something that you normally hear. So, a booby crown is a product that I came up with. It is, in fact, a bra that I have made into a crown and yeah, and I put it on my head. So this is a booby crown, and what's so funny about booby crowns in general is I've been wearing them since I was 14. Now, I know that sounds so bizarre and silly and crazy, but let me explain. So, I hit puberty way before my friends did,
Mm-hmm.
and which means I had boobs before all my friends did. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was wearing, large bras before they were. And so I got nicknamed the Boobie Queen at a very early age.
Really?
We were
That's where that came from. Oh
Yes, yes.
my.
And so
Yeah.
we were actually on a girls' trip, and we were all getting ready to go out to dinner. And I had my clothes laid out on the bed, and one of which was a bra. And so one of my friends picks it up, and she goes, "Oh my God, Whitney, is this your bra?" And I said, "Yeah, welcome to my world." And she goes, "Oh my God, you're like the queen of boobs." And so when she said that, I actually have one. I have a prop. I This was how big my bra
Yeah.
was, and I put it on my head like this and made it into a crown. And so ever since I was 14, my friends just nicknamed me the Booby Queen. And so when I got breast cancer when I was 30, that nickname just kind of it just took on a whole different meaning than
Yeah.
it was when I was 14. So,
And the thing, first of all, that's hilarious. But the thing that I love about your story is that you took a really cruddy situation and you turned it into something good. You turn it into something bearable. And I just want you to share, I mean, anything you have, any tips, tools, techniques. What are some insights that can help? Because even my clients who come in, I have a lot of breast cancer survivors and the fear is real. The fear of those checkups all the time. The fear of when is this going to come back? Is this going to come back? What are some words of wisdom you have someone who's been through this not once but twice?
yeah, that's a great question. Because I'm still trying to figure things out myself.
Yeah.
The extra layer that I have on my story is that I also was diagnosed with a genetic disorder as well, and it's called Lee-Fermini syndrome. And it's an
Mm-hmm.
extremely rare problem that I
Mm.
have. And basically, what it means is I'm predisposed to cancer. All of our
Okay.
cells have a natural copy machine, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, and they make copies of themselves, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
my copy machine in my cells is not working properly. So when my cells get replicated, sometimes those bad cells get replicated when they're not supposed to, and then they continue to do bad things, which produces cancer. And
Okay.
so for me, I am often having difficult conversations. Trying to figure out which shark are we going to tackle first that's
Mm-hmm.
closest to my boat, and that's kind of how my mindset has come. So when you say you're interacting with clients that have scanxiety and
Yeah.
checkups and those fears, 100% understand where they're coming from, because that is what's always next. Is okay, we have to go to this checkup, we got to take this medicine, we have to have this conversation, we got to meet with this doctor, we got to get a second opinion, we got to get a third opinion. And so a lot of those things, disrupt our happiness a
Yeah.
lot, and
Yeah.
it can be debilitating. Something for me that I've had to really, really, really learn how to do is to practice mindfulness. And I know that that is such a woo woo concept to people and can be kind of intimidating, but being mindful is really just accepting the moment as it is right now and being fully present. And when you're worried about scans and how long am I going to live, and what are the results to that thing going to be, it can be really hard to be mindful. It can be really hard to be present, because your mind is fleeting. It's often
Yeah.
distracted. Um, and so practicing mindfulness and being present is something that I have really had to learn and practice daily.
Yeah, and just to jump on top of that too, for anyone who's watching this, you have to go to Whitney's Instagram because she, she is dancing in the hospital. She has everyone just up and doing fun things. Like if I were to go to a hospital, I want to go to the hospital that Whitney O'Connor is in because it's going to be a good time despite anything going on. And so what is going through your head, Whitney, when you are just you're fearful, you have scanxiety, when these things are coming up for you, how do you pull yourself out of that aside from the mindfulness, but what are some of the things you tell yourself?
Yeah. When you have to go for a scan, it's not, you don't just walk in the room, you lay down on the table, you go through the tunnel, and then it's over. It's a 2 hour process, sometimes
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours. And so when you get there, you have to check in, then you have to get changed, and then you have to wait in a room. Then you're surrounded by other people who are also there to get scans. And so that whole experience can be very nerve wracking, can be very debilitating. And so for me, I try my best to, one of the things I do is I try to chat with somebody. If
Mm-hmm.
someone's in the waiting room and they're alone, I shoot up a conversation and just start chatting with them. And immediately some of my anxiety goes away, just because this person is here doing the same thing I am. So might as well chat with them, make a new friend, right? That's one of the things that I do. As I'm waiting and changing and all of those things, I'm not thinking about what the results are going to be from the scan. And that is often something that people think about, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this scan, I wonder what the results are going to say, I wonder what the results are going to say, I wonder what the doctor's going to call and tell me. I don't think about that at all. I try to talk. For me personally, I'm a talker. I like to process things out loud, and so I'm meeting everyone that is meeting me and talking with them. talking to the tech, making jokes with them. A lot of times they'll play music for you in the scan room if you want to. Um, Breathing is another huge thing that I do. I do a lot of box breathing where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds. So I definitely do a lot of breathing because that will slow down all the nerves that are going, regulates your heart, and just helps you maintain so that you don't freak out.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's not about and that's what it sounds like where you come from too. For me, when I talk to people about this, it's like, listen, it's not rainbows and butterflies. I'm not asking you to go in the green, just to go in neutral, just a little bit, just to see go from red a little bit to neutral because something like that, it's very stressful and it's very scary and it's a real fear. It's a real thing. It's not irrational. And the fact that you've come up with these techniques on your own are just amazing to talk to. Always make a point. I love that. Always make a point to talk to someone in the waiting room because then that is the ability to pull you outside of yourself and your situation, allow you to give to someone else just in who you are and your personality. And I just love that. I really do. And I think this is really valuable information. I know we've talked before in the past about this very topic. And there was another thing I wanted to bring up, which was what about families who are watching a loved one go through this? What have been some things that have worked for you that you really just felt in your soul was helpful when you are going through these times for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting. That is a really interesting question because I was diagnosed 6 weeks after I got married. And so
Mm,
my brand new husband had to, that whole vow in sickness and in health, he really had to step up and was like, oh gosh, well, the sickness part has come a lot sooner than I had planned. So what do we do about that? I got breast cancer a week, literally a week after I turned 30 years old. And so me being that young, me being just getting married, all these new things happening in my life, my family was very, very, very concerned. I was stage 3. We had to get treatment going. And so naturally, there was a lot of extra anxiety about my well being through my brand new husband, my brand new family, and also the my immediate family. And one of the things that was really helpful for me, I can be I can be a stubborn patient, and I can struggle following directions when
okay.
someone says, "Oh, you need to be resting," and I'm like, "Ugh, really? Like I have
Hmm.
to," kind of thing. So I can be a little stubborn. And me being told what to do is not always helpful either. And so we kind of came up with one of the things that we did was we did a rating scale from 1 to 10. And so, hey, Whitney, how is your symptoms today? 1 being super great, no problems at all. 10 being like, oh my gosh, I feel like you need to call somebody. I'm, not doing well. And so my husband would be like, all right, where are we at on the scale? And I'm like, I'm at a 5 today. And so when he knew that at a 5, at a 4, 5, or 6, that means that this is how I'm feeling. And these are some things that we can try, whether it be nausea or a bath or whatever. If it's 1 to 4, he knows these things. If it's, you know what I mean? And so that was really helpful because when you're going through this and you're just feeling and sick and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to articulate how you're feeling. It's
Yeah.
hard to share, I'm feeling X today because sometimes, quite frankly, you just don't know how you're feeling. You're so like kind of buzzed in the clouds and but also in pain, but confused, foggy. And so being asked a million times a day, how you doing? How you feeling? What can I do? What can I do? You don't know what to say. And so we developed a scale from 1 to 10. And that was just so helpful because they knew that if I said a certain number, then we need to do these things.
Yeah, I really like that because not only what you were saying with not being able to articulate how you feel, but you're not having to explain yourself and how you're feeling over and over and over again to people. And I've heard you say this in the past, and I want to bring it up because I think it's really important. If you know a loved one going through this, asking the question, what can I do? That's putting the responsibility on the person going through it that they need to tell you what to do. And so sometimes, Whitney, you can even chime in on this, but I love that. Sometimes it's much more helpful just to do something for them instead of
Yeah,
asking, what can I do? Because then you're putting that responsibility on that person when they're already going through enough and don't need any more responsibility to say how you can help them. Am I
right.
tracking right on that?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And it comes from a good place, right? Like I
It
mean, when
does.
people
It does. Yeah.
yeah, when people ask you, "Hey, what can I do?" Of
Mm-hmm.
course the intention is great and
Mm-hmm.
it's helpful, but like you said, it does add an extra layer of responsibility for the patient, for the person that's going through the issue. So maybe asking the person that's with them, their partner, their spouse, their family member. My mother spent a lot of time with us the first time I had breast cancer. And so people would ask her, and then she would kind of coordinate. I had a friend that was in charge of coordinating food because in the South, especially when something happens, you're going to get a casserole on your front porch within 48 hours. And so
Mm-hmm.
and so she was in charge of helping like with meals and stuff. So anyway, people had jobs and people,
Mm-hmm.
they my husband was very good at delegating responsibility, and that was just so helpful. We also had meetings. We had family meetings. Even if it was just me and my husband, I called it a family meeting just because it just seemed more fun. But if I knew that I was going to have chemo or a treatment, we would say, okay, I have these things going on this week, and these are the things that I need help with. Does anyone want to help me with this thing? Picking up this, dropping off this, answering this email, paying this bill, those kinds of things. And we would have a meeting before. I would put it in my calendar so that I didn't have to answer any questions during that week of treatment because those answers were already in my calendar and my husband can see it, and then I can just be removed from those things.
Yeah, because then that's taking all of that stress off of him and off of you. So you know what each of you needs to do. I love these ideas, and I think that they're really tangible for a lot of people to be able to use. And I really appreciate you sharing that, honestly, because
Yeah,
a lot, someone goes through this, and I know quite a few people who are going through this right now in this moment, and it's like, as someone who's a witness, sometimes you're just like, what do I do? And just knowing to what you can do and some of the things that can help, I think makes such a huge difference for everyone. And to be able to help you focus on what you need to focus on primarily, which is getting
right.
through this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I want to shift gears for a second and talk about your crowns again. I'm circling back.
Yeah.
And do you donate crowns to hospitals? How does this work? How can someone get involved with your organization in general and helping drive this further and bringing
Yeah. Yeah.
smiles to people who need it?
Yeah. So I donate to hospitals, and I have started to donate to different organizations around the country. There's another nonprofit in California where they do retreats for patients and survivors. So I'm starting to donate to them. There is organizations at the Mayo Clinic that I donate to. I got treatment the second time around at the Mayo Clinic. And so I built relationships there when I was in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
So I donate to them. I donate to my own oncology office here in Augusta, Georgia. And I also donate to people who nominate people. You can go on my website, boobiecrowns.com. And if you go to the donations page on the tab, you can actually nominate a boobie queen if you would like for me to donate to. Because how it works is for every sale that I make, I donate a crown. And so essentially, when you're buying a boobie crown for somebody, you're also buying a second crown that I can donate. So it's a one for one concept,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it works. So I I I've worked with these nurses that I've built relationships with and kind of explained to them what I'm looking for when it comes to donating these crowns. And the whole point of crowning someone a boobie queen and giving them these crowns is to make them smile, is to
Yeah.
make them laugh, is to make them um, walk through this process with grace, with dignity, and with a smile. Because when you go through breast cancer, however you go through it, I had a double mastectomy. Some people choose to continue to go flat. Some people have to have all kinds of procedures. I'm currently going through, I'm premenopausal right now because of all the medicine that I've been taking over the last 4 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes you don't even feel like a woman anymore because
Yeah.
of all the things that you go through, and your body just feels so different. And so being a boobie queen is to remind you that you were a queen before cancer and you're going to be a queen after cancer. And that is what being a boobie queen is all about, is just walking through the fire, dancing through the fire, trying to figure out a silver lining, because it's hard to find silver linings in this mess that we're
Yeah.
in. And so being a boobie queen, if that means that you need to put some music on, put your crown on and dance around your house, do it. Or dance down the street. I've done that before. Do it.
If you
Why
want to
not?
see any of Whitney's dancing videos, go to her Instagram. But you're right. Just to end on this note, because we're wrapping up now, a
Yeah, sure.
queen, when I think of a queen, there's catastrophe, there's all this muck going on around you and your kingdom. And you act with poise and grace, and you make decisions that are best for you, and you find those silver linings. And that's what Whitney is helping women feel when they put on these crowns. And so I really just urge you to donate to her website. And Whitney, how else can people find you if they're really interested in getting to know your organization more, getting to know you more?
Yeah, they can go follow me on Instagram at Boobie Queen Chronicles. You can go to Facebook. I'm on there at the Boobie Queen Company. You can email me if you want to. I do get a lot of private emails because sometimes people don't
Mm-hmm.
want their loved one's information on social media, but they do want to reach out. Queen at boobiecrowns.com. You can reach out to me that way. And again, you can donate at boobiecrowns.com. All of the donations that I receive are to make boobie crowns. That's what I do. I'm not, buying myself a car or anything like that. I get so excited about the idea of making more and more crowns so that I can, see my boobie crowns on
Yeah.
all kinds of women. So
Yes. Yeah.
men wear boobie crowns too, because because I've had a couple of spouses reach out to me because they wanted a boobie crown to wear for their wife. So it can become a
Oh,
family
yeah.
ordeal if you want it to be. And I started making blue ones because not every woman, is a pink kind of girl. Some girls like the blue styles, and I don't want to discriminate. But also I've made a lot of blue ones for my men
I was
so
thinking
that they
that for the
can
men.
yeah, so that they can, feel a little. Masculine, I guess, while they wear underwear on their head.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. And I love the blue. It's a royal blue color too. I love that. And she comes up with different designs all the time. She's posting her different designs. And I'm sure, if you want a particular color, I'm sure she has it at some point. And so just check her out. And Whitney, thank you so much for joining me today. Any closing words before we finish today?
I would just say something that I mentioned earlier, and you kind of hit on it too, Shannon, is there's not a whole lot of silver linings sometimes when we go through crap. For some people, it might be cancer. For some people, it might be a loss. For some people, it might be a transition into another job. Whatever it is for you, try to figure out how you can create your own silver lining when you can't find any, because that is going to make the struggle way worthwhile if you didn't do that. So, yes,
Yeah.
that would be my advice.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. I have a feeling we're going to be having a few more. But yeah, check Whitney out. If you have any questions, you can reach out to her via her email, and we'll see you next time on the Well Balanced Mind. Thank you so much. Bye.